Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Last time, we returned to Eorzea, well, to Hydaelyn, the source, and have now talked to Fortuno a bit, and now we're about to, I believe, learn how they're planning on transporting stuff to the moon. So, let's dive on in. Hey, we are live. Our destination lies in the lower levels. The Forum, in its wisdom, has granted you access to the Archeon lift. Step inside and have Ophaline take you to the medial circuit.
Shouldn't we have brought Sid with us?
I imagine we will go get him later.
Yeah.
You wish to use the lift, yes? I've sent your associates ahead to Lagisgon Alpha, on the other side of Mariel Agronomics. Actually, there is something I have been meaning to... No, never mind, it can wait. Let us attend to the matter at hand.
Yes, I fixed the macro, so I go into seat 3 every time.
Nice. And we can't fly here. But I do see there's a unlock quest over here. Assuming, of course, we can get to it from where we currently are. Might not be able to. Looks like we should be able to.
Yeah.
If your tomatoes get up and walk away, you're using too much fertilizer.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, dearie me. My sweetest shaggles, or one of Archeon's precious samples has fled. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? My apologies. I'm Noel Itea, an archivist. The Archeon is home to various samples collected from across the star, and one such specimen has just escaped. A young troll, to be specific. Oh, I hope he hasn't set upon by any local predators. Listen, I promise to compensate you, so could you please help me retrieve the specimen? Oh, my thanks. I will continue my search in this area. I'd like you to check the 33rd facet. Once you've had a comprehensive look about, please meet me at the Archeon to report your findings. I'd be surprised if his pet troll is having problems with the local predators. That's not usually something trolls have.
Right?
You see no trolls, great or small, perhaps a bit further in. I was wondering if you could hit it on the run.
Mm-hmm.
The errant troll is nowhere to be seen. Nuele Tia may have had better luck. Wow, are we actually going to have a quest where we don't find the thing?
Hmm.
Need to go back.
Hmm?
Need to go back. Can't go that way. Wait. Never mind. I'm looking at the other going under. Never mind.
Ah.
You went right when we should have gone left for the other one, but this turns it in.
Right. Oh yeah, we have none of the quest 8th rights in this zone.
Right.
Let's see. I was unable to find the specimen either. However, I did meet someone who claimed to have seen it in the Mornvale Forest. Let us head there and see if we can track it down.
Sora? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, I was like, are you okay?
Yep, yep.
Yes, there could be no doubt. These are Shaggle's footprints. I have uncovered the specimen's trail. It should be close. If you find it under threat from the local fauna, you may dispatch its assailants. Okay, I amend my previous statement. This was not what I was expecting when he said young troll. This one might have to worry about predation from rabbits. And I think Zora wants one.
I want it.
Oh, I'm so glad you're unharmed. You're all safe now. Come on, let's go home, sweetie. Did he just call him a buffoon?
Think so.
The Archeon is under threat. I must do something. You could talk? You can understand me? Wait, are you able to communicate with him? Because the echo lets us understand any language. Incredible! I've never met someone with such a skill before. This bundle of joy was born in Labyrinthos. However, he was abandoned by his mother and in quite the state by the time we found him. He possesses remarkable intelligence for one of his kind. We've elected to use him as part of a study into the effects of growing up in an artificial environment. I had seen him making gestures that indicated he'd been reading the tomes here, but I thought he was just copying those around him. To think he actually understands speech. So I do wonder exactly why you were able to understand him and I am not. I'm sort of special. Really? Oh, what I wouldn't give to understand him too. You possess the echo, don't you? I find it difficult to the way your kind do, but I suppose it makes sense that you understand my general sentiments. I happen to learn of said power from the tomes in Archeon. Honestly, that buffoon over there is surrounded by a sea of knowledge, and he makes no effort to engage with it. At any rate, I am glad to find that have someone to talk to. As I was saying earlier, the Archeon is in grave danger. Some gleaner managed to bring woodworms in with them during a visit. If we leave them be, they're bound to cause irreparable damage to the materials of the facility. I tried my best to tell the buffoon, but it was of no use. That's why I took a chance and went in search of some of my own kind to see if they would help. But you saw how that turned out. Well, what is he saying? Oh, dearie me. Still, it was most courageous of him to try and solve this issue on his own. Now that we're aware of it, we'll need to sort this pest problem out at once. Would you mind helping out a little longer? You're the only one who can understand him, after all, and he seems malms ahead of us in regard to the situation at hand. I imagine, no, we will not be helping you, but we'll see. What
Maybe
color
if he
is it? Yeah, what color is his quest? It is yellow. Goodbye.
I was going to say if he gives us another Aether, maybe.
Hey, good luck out there.
I went with number two, and of course it's a secret, and it was the exact same.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, they were both non-answers, so.
Right.
The hell is going on up there? Oh, they disappeared.
Yeah, the shadow was weird.
Oh, did you not see them?
I only saw the shadow, but I had my camera higher.
It was somebody on a mount, and they were spinning rapidly.
Yeah, that's what the shadow looked like. A cloud kind of spinning around.
I'm not sure what the mount was. It looked like it might have been like some kind of jar. But I'm not aware of a mount like that, but that doesn't mean one doesn't exist.
Seen a new mount, or a new mount for me anyway, and it was the looked like one of those little airplanes on the little kiddie rides that you see that go in circles. No shit, big old dude sitting in there and his little tiny wings and a little propeller.
Well, I would feel that
That's great.
I would feel that mount would have to be like general issue for Radogans, after all.
Yep.
All their vegetables are getting away. There was a stray onion.
The game said no. You may not drive under the water wheels.
Phooey.
These are the pets that you can get in the garden that I'm eventually going to actually start.
Oh, the stray vegetables.
Yeah, you can get the. I don't know about the tomato, but there's a garlic and an onion.
Nice.
I think there's 2 others at least, plus a melon. I started researching on it, and KJ interrupted me to do something else. I think it was Diablo.
Whatever.
Well, those demons ain't gonna slay themselves.
No, this is true.
We are to wait here while our father arranges for us to use the next lift. Here being Lunkistan Alpha, where the atmospheric conditions of Labyrinthos are regulated. Those are big gears. Water is drawn from underground and dispersed as vapor, stimulating the formation of artificial clouds and rain. By manipulating the temperature and air circulation, they are able to create the ideal environment for the growth and preservation of the biological samples kept here. Hold on. How do you know so much about it? Well, Father brought me here as a child. What? And left me behind? Actually, you're the one who left me behind when you went off somewhere with Grandfather. The night before, I'd been asking Father how clouds are made, so he decided to show me. It was fascinating. I peppered him with questions the entire time. It is all too easy to take for granted the many interweaving aspects of the natural world, to grow inured but to the wondrous. But having gained an understanding of the complex mechanisms employed by the Loporrits in recreating a similar environment, I have come to view such process in a new light. The subterranean gardens of Labyrinthos, the lunar prison forged to contain the ancient Zodiarch, the habitations built for all mankind neath the moon's surface, each unique yet undeniably similar. It is no mere coincidence. Ever since Hydaelyn unfolded to us the grim fate that awaits Aetherius, every essential resource we could spare has been delivered to Labyrinthos, in preparation for the Great Exodus. But that is not all. It has also been it's also a testing ground for the technologies that will allow us to settle on distant stars. Though the Loporrits have endeavored to make the moon inhabitable, that is not our final destination. Mankind must learn to propagate life where there is none, to thrive where all is barren. Alas, time is not on our side. I've arranged for you all to enter the central circuit. It is there that most of our preparations for the Great Exodus are carried out, the construction of the Ark among them. Though our plans have been made public, access remains highly restricted. You, however, will not be subject to said restrictions, and will have free reign to come and go as you please. Such was the will of the Forum, after all. We will prove ourselves worthy of their trust. Your trust. Then let us proceed. The Aether Burner is being constructed not far from here. Overseeing the work is Okal Dankal, after whom the forge is named. Once the necessary introductions have been made, I shall leave you with him to discuss the particulars. This way. That's a very distinctive name. I wonder what he is. Also, I'm ignoring the mission and heading for the Aetherite. Assuming we can actually get there, which we might not be able to. Ah, maybe we can. Yeah, we may not be able to use this one yet. But that's not going to stop me from trying.
Nope.
Here.
Yep, it's letting us attune. You might end up at the quest marker by going the wrong way the whole time.
Maybe.
Although I guess technically it becomes the right way halfway there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, I stopped too soon.
I did too, dang it.
Oh, we are hunting aether currents at the moment. Driving around the big circle that is Labyrinthos. Just had the thought this place is not nearly labyrinthine enough to be called Labyrinthos. Big circle.
Yeah.
And that's all of them.
Oh, crap-a-dat. What is my problem?
The get in the car macro is too fast.
Apparently.
I could swap them out.
Knew it, a dwarf.
No, been there, done that. Damn near lost me eyebrows.
Wrong planet, KJ.
Think, Coco, think! We'd be well on our way to paradise. Visionaries patting themselves on the backs for their grand accomplishments if you'd only think!
Yes, that does sound rather lovely.
Yeah! I mean, Master Force, you know, what a pleasant surprise. We're not blasting off already, are we?
The schedule remains unchanged, for better or worse. Which is why the Forum has elected to accept assistance in resolving the ether burner conundrum.
Not seen you lot down here before.
There are archons among their number, but engineering is not their expertise. Nevertheless, the Forum concedes the slim possibility that they may have insights to offer. If not, you are at liberty to return them to the surface, by whatever means you see fit.
I assure you that won't be necessary. Now, about your troubles with the ether burner.
Aye, aye, I'll walk you through it. Suppose I could do with a change of pace.
Sometimes
As the
that all
name
it
ought to
takes.
tell you, the ether burner burns ether, ambient or otherwise, and transforms it into motive force. Think of it like a giant bomb that never stops exploding. Even out in that black void where the ether's right sparse, it's strong enough to move our arc. And it probably won't kill you like an actual bomb. But it ain't perfect. According to my calculations, to travel to the moon and back fast enough for the Forum's liking, the conversion rate needs to be 6% more efficient. A measly 6%, you say? But if I could have squeezed even another 0.6 out of it, don't you think I'd have built it that way in the first place?
Has
I
thou
like this guy.
consulted with the Loperids?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they too are conducting their own research, for lack of a ready answer. The moon's propulsion systems are considerable, naturally, yet they are commensurately massive. It is no easy feat to convert their technology into an efficient means of propulsion for a teeny tiny toy boat, as they say, and as I most certainly do not.
Yes, exactly! Damn it all, I asked for refined adamantite and they send me uppity rabbits with inscrutable, ancient, incompatible technology! You trying to drive me mad?
Do you speak of Allegan refined adamantite, perchance?
You know of it?
Only in the most general terms, I'm afraid. 'Twas an alloy of Allegan make, but the secrets of its production were closely guarded. As I recall, the record stated it was vital to Dalamud's construction and launch.
Aye, that's the stuff. No material more conductive far as I know. Slotting some ends like blowing up a dam and watching the river of ether come rushing through. Ain't a living soul that knows how to make it though. We were fortunate enough to salvage some for the ether burner, just a wee bit, mind, from a chunk of Dalamud that came hurtling into the northern empty during the calamity. With more, well, that extra 6% efficiency would be child's play. It's a crying shame that we've no other sources.
Surely the many shards of Dalamud scattered throughout Eorzea would suffice. Why not get the refined adamantite from them?
Oh, we tried, believe you me. But only a few specialised pieces would have had any in them to begin with. Drive calls from Ragnarok class internment hulks. Those are the prize bits we really need. But according to the Gleaners, getting to them means delving deep into the shards. And the defences are still very operational and very eager to blow them up. It's rough going in there, even for the cream. Not sure they'd make it out alive.
Weren't we near that part of the Ragnarok when we went to destroy Bahamut? That may be for the best, though you doubtless find the task too dull for your liking.
There are multiple internment hulks in Eorzea alone, so handling this ourselves may not be the most efficient option. Rather, if we could salvage adamantite from the shards simultaneously... Thancred, is the link shell we established before you went to Garlemald still active?
Of course. The floor is yours.
What's all this?
Gathering firewood, so to speak. We alone can accomplish little, but joined by others, we may yet build a bonfire to carry us heavenward. This is Alphino. The Scions have need of you.
Understood. I will contact the Lord Commander and dispatch our finest at once.
My sisters are somewhat preoccupied with the final days, so I will lead the Twelveswood expedition myself.
Are you aware of any other sources of refined adamantite?
Logically, such an invaluable alloy would have been utilized solely where absolutely necessary, in components intended to conduct or collect surpassing amounts of ether. Any extant instrumentation or devices
Crystal
would have likely
Tower.
found their way into the hands of etherologists or enthusiasts.
Magical artifacts of Allagan design? The Eastern Alliance will send word to one and all. Are there other ways we may offer aid? No shards of the Lesser Moon scar our soil, but our stake in this cause is no less for it.
Is there anything in Othard that might be of use to you?
What did you say? Oh, you got friends in far places, lad. Any road, if you're offering, I wouldn't say no to one of those Far Eastern sacred relics. Some of them can hold enough ether to summon a whole damn primal. Combine a source like that with the ether burner, and 3, 2, 1, kaboom!
I gather you heard his explosive enthusiasm. Might you secure us a suitable relic?
It shall be done. I know little of machines, but I promise we will do our utmost to gather the materials you need to finish your starship. I am glad for the work, in truth. Better to busy oneself than wait and fret over disasters foretold.
Then why are we all still standing about yapping? There's plunder for the taking. And I'm a born plunderer. I'll be an old Charlian before you know it. Start mixing the grog.
I'm certain that can be arranged. Thank you all, and do be careful.
Just like that.
Aye, just like that. Our refined adamantite is on its way. Now let us consider our next steps, shall we? There's yet much to be done.
I asked them if they wanted me to go fetch the what's it. They told me I'd find it boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's time like these we're reminded of how famous or infamous Alpha Node has become. Who'd have thought he could achieve so much with a single link pearl conversation? As we're expecting a rather lot of visitors in the near future, I'd best return to the surface and inform the relevant parties. I also have a contract of my own that might be worth a try. A contact of my own that might be worth a try. Oh, and who might that be? That's for me to know and you to find out. And on that note, I leave matters here in your capable hands. Best of luck. Meanwhile, in Ul'dah,
Our course of action is clear. We must harvest refined adamantite from the shards of Dalamud and procure arcane relics of Allagan make. Summon the best and brightest of our immortal flames and form an expeditionary party at once. Call upon the Sultan Sworn and Brass Blades for support as you must. Papashan, send word to the guilds. We will require the expertise of master artisans if we are to have any hope of identifying and recovering these elusive materials. Viergeist, we have need of your stone torches. They are to assist the immortal flames in scouring the ruins and to help secure the surrounding areas. I trust I can count on your support.
As commander of the Stone Torches, my son Zimberk will personally see it done.
Pippin, I would have you lead the raiding party. Assemble your finest, and with Chizona's blade clear the way. Lord Lolorito, I pray you take charge of the search for Allagan relics. Surely you know of some being traded on open or clandestine markets, or sleeping in collectors' vaults. Of course, I ask not that you do this out of the kindness of your heart. By all means, profit on the transactions. I wish you the joy of it. The final days descend upon our world. If circumstances are truly as dire as they say, Ul'dah's best efforts may be for naught. And yet, when we Eorzeans rose from the ashes to rebuild our broken realm, did we not learn one simple truth? That which seems all but impossible to overcome alone may yet be possible if we stand together. It was the Scions who united us then, and it is the Scions who call upon us now. Ul'dah will answer that call.
Is that the Heavensward theme I hear playing in the background?
And join the fight for our world's future. You know your duties. I, Nanamo Ul'Namo, 17th in the line of Ul, bid you good luck and Godspeed.
Meanwhile, in the Black Shroud,
We fielded a goodly number, but our ranks are heavy with healers, and an abundance of restorative magics will be of little help in destroying Dalamud's defenses. Still, it has ever been thus with Gridania. We must steel ourselves for a protracted engagement.
In that case, might I suggest taking us along?
Commander Hext, what are you doing here?
None of the shards in Girabania are big enough to hold an internment hulk. So we said to ourselves, why not lend our neighbors a hand? We thought you might be short on people with a talent for breaking things.
While it pains me to admit it, you are right. Our deficiencies so plain to see.
It might have been a lifetime ago, but I was once one of the scions assigned to the Shroud. I know this forest well. I know your people. And I know we will be stronger if we fight this fight together.
Then I will impose upon you with a clear conscience. Come, let us speak of how to integrate our forces.
I won't let it all be for nothing. I promise you, Papalimo.
Meanwhile, in Kurthus,
There you are! We've no time to waste, brother. Everyone has already... Ah.
oh, y'all didn't have to do that to me.
That was a roar! A dragon's roar!
Yes, I think everybody in Ishgard knows what that sound is. Meanwhile, in the Ruby Sea.
And so, in summation, the Eastern Alliance, as well as the Honourable Lord Lolorito himself, reached out to me for assistance in procuring these treasures of the divine, and I, in turn, do beseech the Confederacy for aid. Hmm? Is that...
Hancock? What a surprise this is. And a fortuitous one at that. I have a favor to ask, you see.
I believe I am required by law to say, by the kami, a talking turtle.
Right? Well, I'm wondering what's up with that big snake.
I imagine we'll find out. And the size of the roar in Ishgard. Is Midgardsormr moving? Because I don't think there are any other great dragons around Ishgard right now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. That's the one that gave his eye to what's his name, right?
No, that's Racevelger. Midgardsormr's the big dragon. Their daddy.
Oh.
The one who followed us around on our shoulder for all of Heavensward.
Okay.
Who we haven't seen in quite some time. It would make sense if he was telling, you know, all the dragons to do something.
Yeah, helper, whatever.
But I suppose it could be Racevelger. I think he's still alive. Also wondering if the stone torches have ever been introduced before, or if this is a new faction.
I don't remember them, but
I don't either.
I haven't done a lot of Uldal stuff other than what we'd done together, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's been a long time since we've been around Ul'dah, so.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to look it up later. Though our friends are searching for refined adamantite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirements once they have arrived. In the meantime, is there aught else we might do to be of service? You've already done more than enough. If I had to say, though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about Allagan technology. You there, the lad with the red eyes and matching hair. You seem to know more than the average scholar. Yeah, he knows just about everything, I would guess. If Master Cockle only knew how right he was. Well, he and Graha establish a rapport. Why don't we help out with preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this would mean going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am that we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse. And if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantite. And here you were talking about how bored I would be going to get some adamantite.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers? If you mind to lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. Charlie and Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. That lot need all the help they can get. Well then, off we go. Rip your materia, KJ.
What's that?
KJ is unable to attach Heaven's Eye Materia 8 to the
Oh, yeah. Because I was putting a third one on. It wasn't a slot. Sometimes I had a 17% chance of doing it. But instead of filling up a slot space, I was like, the hell with it, and tried it anyway.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter. I'm getting 10s and shit now anyway, so. Or 9s, yeah.
Those are some sturdy bushes.
The ones that they have is shaped in a ball, I think, looks like more like stone.
Yep. From what I can tell, a lot of people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scholark Montechain mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet by the Aetherite once our work is done.
So you're right. 545, I didn't even have that chest piece on. Oh, there's a blue quest.
Excuse me, sir. I couldn't help but notice that you've a way about you that simply screams, I have an affinity for creatures of the wilds. And since I'm never wrong about such things, might I trouble you? You see, amongst the troops of trolls living in the outer circuit, I came upon one who was sick beyond measure. I took the poor creature in at once and saw him healed, of course. But when I attempted to return him to his rightful home, he flew into a panic, as if he could not bear the thought of going back. To make matters worse, the troll saw fit to escape into a den of Analas. I would go after him, but I'm so fumble-footed I'll scare him off like as not and be torn limb from limb for my pains by the fiends. So I turn to you. Would you seek out this troll of which I spoke? I shall provide you with his favorite food, and with it you should be able to calm the piteous thing. Hopefully that will be enough to see his senses restored and for him to come hurrying back. And though I shudder to think of it, if any of those Felanalas seek to impede you or pester that troll, make those beasts regret their interference. Oh, and don't worry, you will be rewarded for your efforts. Guess we should go ahead and do the main story quest that's right here, just in case it sends us over to the same place. I doubt it will, but just in case. Hello? Are you one of the new helpers? Working on the ether burner. Oh dear, I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I'd choose that over my current duties. Checking and loading samples, day in, day out, it's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one will be cross if I misplace a few legumes or what have you. The forum's got enough of it on their plate as it is. What with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when, lots of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fourcheneau and the others. Hardly get a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? Helping with the Ark? Even with all the power Master Krokol's managed to squeeze out of the ether burner, is still not enough, apparently. And now I hear the final days have arrived. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. If only we'd begun the exodus sooner. People are dying, and there'll be no end to it. There'll be no end to it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment. Believe in the plan, and all will be well. Offering to help. That's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents by myself. It's mostly lists of things we need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person, after having communicated with them in such a limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I've not even the slightest idea what they look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants. Why, I would much prefer something small and fluffy, like a beheaded rabbit that ran by... Fancy meeting you here. Our friends in the forum brought us to see their teeny tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is Aetheris itself, though. We now find ourselves at a sort of funny underground miniaturized version of it. We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and they're still not ready. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we were planning to do until we chanced upon Urianger and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest. Won't that be fun?
These little guys, I swear.
Try as he might, Urianger cannot free himself from the Loporrits.
No.
A tour of Labyrinthos? An unexpected yet prudent suggestion. Given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and Bestway's burrow, it would be in our best interest to have the Loporrits acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlian collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspective. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture. Oh, nice passing of the buck there, Urianger.
Yeah. Smooth.
What a marvelous idea. Might we begin with that great big what's it over there? Ah, yes, the what's it. I shall leave its explanation to you. Urianger, I'm gonna throw you down a hole for this. And no, the quest did not send us to over to the same place, so. We are troll hunting.
You left somebody.
Dear Labyrinthos scientists, those look like something that probably shouldn't be saved. And even if they should be, they probably should not be kept in the forest.
With the trees, yeah.
Of course, looking at these guys makes me think of old WoW meme of "It's too soon, Executus. Too soon." Because they look an awful lot like the fire Naga that serve Ragnaros.
Yeah.
Okay, he does not speak. He just makes loud noises and runs away.
I feel like we're doing the Goldilocks thing. This one's too small.
Possibly.
Well, at least a small one could talk. And explain about the buffoons.
Yes, I did like the small one. Or he could literally just come directly back. Look, he's returned. I can't thank you enough. I know they may not look it, but trolls are really quite intelligent. Indeed, they are an intrinsic part of the woodlands of Labyrinthos, and keep it healthy and thriving. Though we've a responsibility to put down the more violent and unruly ones, most trolls, such as this one, are kind, docile things. In fact, my friend here has a real chance of becoming leader of his tribe, perhaps even guardian of the forest someday. It is we who saw these creatures removed from their natural habitats and relocated them within Labyrinthos, though we've a responsibility to watch over them to ensure they are well, and it would be too cruel to dispose of one simply because they're under the weather. Ah yes, your reward, here, as promised. Now then, it's high time I saw this fellow return to the outer circuit. Farewell, adventurer. Goodness me, to build something so large without creation magics, it's positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features? Search the apparatus for points of potential interest. The tanks. Isn't it a little hard to see from here? But is that a golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? And I can see through that window another pipe at the bottom. Ah, must be for purifying water drawn up from below. Metallic tube. Is that water I hear from inside the great big tube? It must be because of those cogs and that gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. There's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside, too. You spot an abystoma, an especially lively one at that. It would appear that the concept you observed in another time, another place, was approved for the life in the wider world somehow. I'm guessing that was just an Easter egg. He's on the ledge right by the window, if you didn't see him.
Yeah, he's funny.
No, I missed him.
It's actually got a chat bubble appearing above its head, too, to help you find it.
Well, I'm out of the Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
It literally wasn't
Mushroom-like
required.
thing. That looks like the trees of the greatest Innsvale. Hold on. That's a bit of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom, but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced, too. Ah, it makes sense. That's where they store the water. Well, if I were to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it! A design brilliant in its simplicity. I dare say it would take only a moment to install it in even the harshest of environments. For us Loporits, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that peoples of Aetheris sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive? I'm going with option 1. So wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it would appear they rely on it far more than we anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order, once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual. It may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place. Master Alphonode spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logiscon Alpha, did he not? Mayhap the Loporits will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. We must journey beyond the sanctuary of Charlian Hamlet. I shall lead the way. You mean we'll have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We could not help but notice that many dangerous-looking creatures with big, nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of the settlement. Were we not escorted by burly custodians, I dread to think what might have become of us. Regrettably, too many a hungry predator with the aforementioned big, nasty teeth, Loporits may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logiscon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as escort to Living Way and Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. A more valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way. To the water extraction, what's it? the Loperists need to expand their vocabulary. I mean, there's such interesting words like doodad or thingy that they could be using as well.
Thingamabob, thingamajig. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You can switch it up a little.
Everybody get credit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction what's-it is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if it's all the same to you. My friends, I bid you welcome to Logiscon Alpha. Our destination doth lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me. Marvelous, simply marvelous. So this is where the magic, or science, rather, takes place. The perfect environment to sustain life, artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently, most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Aetheris just so happens to provide you everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. Cooking Way is eager for a change of venue, or at the very least, a change of what's-it. This is all very wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where's the food? I believe both the knowledge and knowledge and consumables you seek may be found at Marial Agronomics. As I imagine, Singing Way and the others intend to study every conceivable facet of this apparatus, wouldst thou be so kind as to escort our visiting culinarian? Yes, that sounds much more interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicacies Oriange was talking about. Even his incredibly vivid, if a bit verbose, descriptions cannot compare to sampling them myself. Not to mention Aetheris will soon be no more, so I must learn all I can while there is still time. Let us brook no further delay. I'm not sure I will ever unlearn the habit of assuming I have to be outside before I can mount.
I know, right?
This is the place, yes? The heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I'd dearly love to try some, but I read that those who help themselves to a farmer's crops without permission are often caught and put into pies. Perhaps you could ask whoever is in charge if they would be willing to part with a few samples.
Oh, we've been here before.
Yep. What a fine mess this is. Oh, it's you. The one who climbed down the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I'm rushed off my feet preparing for the exodus. And I'm not the only one. We've all got to find ways to do what we can to do what we do down here up there. First on the moon, then on whichever star the Forum decides will be their new home. It's all so sudden, so unreal. Don't you want to go to the moon? Well, it's better than waiting for the final days to claim us. But no matter how carefully it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. Even the ones we can take may not survive in their new environment. So many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you came to talk about, is it? Nothing quite so dire, I assure you. We merely wish to sample a little of your produce, if we may. Oh, by all means, help yourself. Much appreciated, my good fellow. So, where to begin? Oh, I know what these are. Grapes, yes? Let's see if they are as delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour. The taste is much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, and yet the texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar, though far from unpleasant. Yes, I think I'll have to try another. Well, that certainly gave me food for thought, though it is far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what is your opinion of grapes? Nah. Meh. An expression of indifference, I assume. In all fairness, our compendium did note they are valued more as an ingredient for spirituous beverages rather than a fruit for regular consumption. Anyway, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next treat.
I fought volcanoes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Orange by name, orange by nature. What came first, the fruit or the color? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that's... Equal parts sweet and sour, as with the grapes, yet nothing alike. I may have to consult Urianger about expanding my vocabulary. I simply cannot find the words to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is... bitter? This is all very complicated, you know. So many flavors, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preferences. Now I see why you all turned your noses up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvelous though they still are, in my estimation, let no one say I said otherwise. Ah, but speaking of carrots, I've yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in the field over there. We're going to find actual carrots? That color, that texture, are they some sort of enormous round carrots? No. In any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Ah, so hard and flavorless. I may as well be chewing on a piece of wood. That all but confirms it. These are nothing more than misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots. Stop. Can't you see these are pumpkins? And no one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother? Far from it. Cooking is a joy unto itself. And what's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. But above all else, cooking allows us to draw out the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew has been one of my favorite dishes for as long as I can remember. And perhaps even these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. I wonder, though, if there is anything even more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder?
Okay, hold on. Shalaron's trying... bleh. These people are trying to talk about cooking when all they really like is that stale bread or whatever.
Well, the scholars upstairs only have time for that. I guess the people that actually grow crops might have wider senses.
Alright.
What a wondrous fragrance. With luck, it'll have a flavor to match. Oh no, are these lemons?
Yeah.
As I've no idea how these are eaten, I'll just bite into it. Rip bunny. My tongue! Is this poison? A lemon? You mean it's supposed to taste like this? How can something so similar to an orange be so revolting? Ugh. It may be some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I had best call an end to this round of sampling. Let's say our farewells and return to the others. Finished, have you? I trust you found something to your liking. I'm rather enamored with the grapes and oranges, less so with the pumpkin, though I've learned the hard way that they're not to be eaten raw. Then there was the lemon, the deceiver. I still feel so violated. First time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave with a bad taste in your mouth. More ways than one. So I'll give you this lemon muffin I baked. If this doesn't change your opinion, nothing will. More lemon? Have I not suffered enough? Nevertheless, it would be remiss of me to spurn this opportunity to... Oh, bit of sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Very well, lemon muffin, do your worst. This is delicious. Although I still detect a hint of lemon, it complements the sweetness of the dough to create a perfect harmony. I never would have guessed its vile bitterness could be utilized so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking. See, we rarely use lemon in its natural state, but it has a starring role in all sorts of recipes. And the same is true of many other ingredients. It comes down to making the most of the resources at your disposal. And sometimes that can be the difference between life and death. I know we won't be able to take every species with us. No doubt the Forum agonized over what was worth preserving, and what will be consigned to history. Hard choices, but make them we must if we're to survive. Such strength of will. Now I know what Hydaelyn sees in your kind. Mankind, the Loporrits. We were both born from the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. They learned all there is to learn about the nature of sentient life and the fates of the stars themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements for survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly and its downfall. For perfection is an unattainable ideal. It is the paradox of the immaculate carrot. Yet civilizations since time immemorial have deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the costs incurred in their futile quest, and all too often become the architects of their own demise, their dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect, to be content with what we have and make the most of it. When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins. Pardon my Eorzean, but what in the seven hells are you on about? And who are you, anyway? Cooking Way at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. And once you get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds. But don't worry, there'll be room for your crops too. We'll work together to preserve as many of Aetheris' species as possible, if you're up to the challenge. Yes, of course, I look forward to it. Well, this has all been highly productive. Probably. Let's go and see if Urianger and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we?
Shouldn't she actually be called Guarding Way or some Garden Way or Crops Way?
Eventually she'll learn what the word cooking actually means. I suspect she took it as in the meaning of make food.
Right.
And they're rabbits, so carrots are food. So, make carrots. That's her job.
Yeah, which falls under gardening or.
Yep. That was most enlightening, especially the part with the lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know of any other places famed for their cuisine?
Limsa.
Yeah, I'm going with Limsa. Would that I had time to visit. The more I learn of Aetherius, the more I wish we could spare it from the final days. Alas, Hydaelyn's orders are to flee, not to resist. If only there was some other way. Urianger appears to be tallying the Loporrits in preparation for an imminent departure. He's counting kids' heads. Are they all here? I trust thy time at Mariel Agronomics did bear fruit. Our own efforts, too, were rewarded. We now possess an embarrassment of educational riches. No doubt our guests' relentless pursuit of knowledge could occupy them and us for a fortnight. Alas, time is of the essence. Let us return to Charlie and Hamlet forthwith. I shall gladly attend to each and every loperate here, should further questions within my power to answer arise. Oh.
Growing Way should have come with us.
Indeed. Seems like Growing Way wants to see something that he hasn't gotten to see yet.
Right.
Try to remember, which was the one that took us into the forest? Was it Growing Way? Or what the Loperids think a forest is?
I think.
Oh, yeah.
maybe.
Went for the walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. Yes, that was indeed me verbalizing a sigh to express my emotional state. You want to know why? Because I saw the reconstructed environmental data for Aetherius at Lycoscon Alpha, that's why. A forest so lovely and so leafy. Are all of your forests like that? I'm going with option 1. Gasp! Gasp, I say! With a star so wonderful, it comes as no surprise that you're reluctant to leave it behind. I was a fool to think otherwise, to assume that the moon was something worth being proud of. How ridiculous we must seem to you, trying so hard yet achieving so little. Not at all. Thy works are no less worthy for their uniqueness. I thought I heard tiny voices. Thancred. How didst thou fare? Oh, I was able to glean a fair bit from the researchers while helping to move their cargo. Preparations have proceeded without interruption here, despite news of the coming end. We have the forum's leadership to thank for that. It doesn't mean people aren't worried, though. Quite the opposite. Knowing disaster could strike at any time, they hurry to complete their work, equally aware that a single error could be the difference between life and death. And we can hardly tell them there's no cause for concern. Perhaps not. Though aided by our goodly Growing Way, we may yet find other ways to lighten their burden. Me? Be of use to people? I'm honored that you think me so capable, but I'm not sure I'm up to the challenge. Nevertheless, I believe in thee. If you say so, I suppose it can't hurt to try. I passed someone moping in the Western Plaza that looked to be in need of a helping paw. Perhaps you might start with him. Tis a good place as any. Come. Oh, can I help you? It is you who would help me? Is my anxiety truly so obvious? A burden shared is a burden erased. Pray, tell us thy troubles. Those little fellows do look like good listeners. I'm an engineer, you see. And what they say of this ship, that it's the sum of decades of Charlian ingenuity, that it's built with peerless Allegan technology, is all true, but I know that none of that's a guarantee. We've never before launched a starfaring vessel, let alone flown it in the great expanse. All the tests we've run have been on the ground. Only operational personnel and cargo will be aboard for the first voyage. But even so, if it fails us then, what can we do? And if it doesn't, it could fall apart on the next flight, or the one after that. We've done everything we can to prevent that from happening, but it hardly matters. We thought the Aetherburner's design was flawless too, and look how that turned out. Thou art familiar with those most daunting technologies, and thus dost thou hold the power to allay his fears. Oh, I'm not sure about that, but, well, maybe you could tell me if there are any aspects of the ship's design that you're especially worried about? Our ability to walk about and perform our tasks, for one. I've devised a means by which to employ gravity, a spatiotemporal spell to regulate the environment. But what if it's not strong enough? What if everyone floats away and begins crashing into things as soon as we've left the star? Ah, gravitation. Maybe I can be of help after all. Up there is not so different from down here, you see. The same rules apply, and if you consider them as part of the one great big cosmos rather than separate places. I suspect both parties shall find comfort in this conversation. Yet if Thancred's tale be true, still others would benefit from insights born of experience. Might I prevail upon the Loporrits to attend them? Excellent idea, if I do say so myself. There is naught we'd like more than to ease the hearts of the fine people of Aetherius, and learn more about them while we're at it. Full glad am I to hear it. Gather thy companions and bring them hither. Thou hast a gift for finding souls in need of succor. Pray seek thee out the distressed and the apprehensive, and inform them that help is at hand. I shall await them here, that I might introduce each to a suitable Loporrit. Oh, I do look forward to that. A place for every Loporrit, and every Loporrit in their place. Apologies, but I'm awaiting a delivery. Whatever it is, we'll have to wait. It seems this gleaner is too busy for a chat, for his benefit or otherwise.
Hopefully we run into our friend.
Indeed. Hopefully he survived Ishgard.
Which friend?
Our friend, the bunny gleaner, who was in Ishgard when the first people started changing.
Yep.
Have you heard anything of what's on the moon? I have no doubt that we can make it up there, but the searching for a new star part of the plan sounds awfully vague to me. I asked the forum, but they will only tell us that our collaborators have everything under control. Forgive me, but I don't feel particularly safe wandering through the sea of stars on a on gods know what made by gods know who. I mean to say that I could speak with them directly. Amazing. I hope they like questions.
There's one behind us right here.
I think there might be one in every direction we look. There's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just leave me to my misery. The forum can appoint someone else. Ugh. I apologize. I simply don't know what to do. How am I supposed to pilot the Ark if I'm already falling apart under the pressure? You know a starship pilot that I might be able to speak with? Truly? Well then, there's no time to waste. They can help me prepare for this monumental task. Anything bothering me? Well, I've been loading cargo for bells now, so my back feels like a void sense plated as a piano. My feet and knees are drums and cymbals, too. This gleaner seems fine, if in need of a break. Got one over here. How might I help you? Why, what a lovely idea. I too noticed people becoming rather tense, so I rushed out to pluck some fresh and fragrant tea leaves. Now I need to only track down 100 or so cups. But don't you worry, I can manage. I hope your plan to cheer everyone up goes well. This woman is doing better than you are.
There's two below us.
Ah, the end of the world is nigh. Yet the work goes no faster. Schedules are such temperamental things, feasible one moment, utter bollocks the next. And yet, I've never felt so alive. This one is beyond your help. Only sleep can save her now. You. Yes, you idiot. Have you seen an envelope laying about? This imbecile refuses to give me the alchemic I ordered with that bloody slip of parchment. Unless your friends have a spell to make me remember where I dropped my damn envelope, I doubt there'll be more help than you. And you've wasted enough of my time already. It would be unfortunate for all involved to inflict this man upon the Loperates. My face? What's wrong with my... Ow. Perhaps I'm a bit tense. I was tasked with ensuring that I had that the proper fauna, and only the proper fauna, are brought with us to the moon. However, the suitability of a few species is still under debate, and I can hardly make that decision myself when I know so little about the environment up there. Including the Loporits in our discussions is a wonderful idea. I absolutely will, thank you. Perhaps their biology itself might offer some clue as well. Do not dissect the bunny people. They would not approve. Consult our collaborators. I suppose that would be more effective than sitting here brooding. I've attempted to calculate how much cargo we can consolidate into fewer trips should the Aether Burner make our original estimates unfeasible. But there are simply too many variables. I feel as though my brow will turn inside out. Or perhaps our lunar associates have more insight into how much weight constitutes too much weight for our purposes. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, he was a weights engineer. Those guys. Yeah. Am I thinking about? The medical facilities on the ship, of course. I designed them with the assistance of our sages and surgeons, but I imagine every illness or injury that one might face in the great expanse is simply beyond us. To say nothing of the effects that living out there indefinitely might have on the body. The crew from the moon? Why did I not think of that? Concerns? Nay, there's no point in worrying at this stage. It'll only make the work go that much slower. This woman seems to be coping well. This might be the quest that has asked us to do the most stuff ever.
There's one right here.
I've got one over here, too. By the gods, my chest is tight. Am I dying? Is this what dying feels like? Oh, do pardon me. I didn't see you there. There's no cause for concern, I assure you. No cause for concern, even though we may need to depart at any moment, and if the hull I designed buckles under the strain, the entire vessel may explode on launch, claiming countless lives and dooming all of mankind. But that is highly unlikely. Yes, it's highly unlikely. Highly. Our visitors can help me triple check for structural flaws, you say? Why, that would be wonderful. I'm breathing more easily already. Bunches of weeds in the ground. 56 bunches of weeds. Rip one out, add it to the mound. 55 bunches of weeds in the... I'm not neglecting my duties, I swear. I was in need of a little break, you see, but then I found myself unable to relax at all, so I went for a walk, and then I noticed these weeds, and... Pleasant conversation partners, and oh so fuzzy. Goodness me, that does sound like a much better way to relax. And I think this may be the last one here. It's up top if you're in the lower areas. Blasted assistants. Where have they gone off to at a time like this? Beg pardon, but I have not time for idle chit-chat. I need to reconfirm that ether levels are consistent throughout the vessel's machinery, and it seems I shall have to do so single-handedly. I swear, when I find those assistants of mine, the Loperates are willing to help? Why didn't you say so? At least they won't moan about how they checked 24 times already and haven't slept in weeks. Lazy sods. Behold, through thine efforts, word hath spread throughout Labyrinthos. Verily, to a far greater number than we anticipated. Living Way doth gather more Loperates as we speak. I shall assign each in accordance with their skills, that new bonds of friendship might be forged. Should greater matters require not thine attentions, watch over them, I prithee.
Phew! Oh, finally some rest. Why, I haven't spoken so much in, well, in forever.
Lively, isn't it? The town is abuzz. Everyone eager to meet with our friends from the moon.
'Twould behoove you to consult with Sleeping Way. As our moon's pilot, his advice should be most pertinent.
Oh god, Sleeping Way's the pilot?
I know, right?
I'm impressed. Truth be told, I struggle to tell one from another. No offense intended, of course.
None taken. After you and your friends left Mare Elementorum, we spent no small amount of time with your Urianger. Oh, the conversations we had. He told us all about Atheris, answered our every question, no matter how trifling or trivial. Look! Every page filled to the margins with knowledge. When I first arrived, I was struck by how little I knew. It was daunting. But then I realized that, were it not for Urianger and his teachings, we'd still be stuck on the moon, gazing at your world and wondering what we've been missing.
What would they think if they could see Urianger now? I dare say they'd be more than a bit surprised. And impressed, no doubt. Master Louisoix, Minfilia, Papalimo, and not to forget...
Oh there. Heard there was a visiting expert who we might bother with a few questions. I take it you'd be the one.
Yes, I am.
Wilson and Blovida, Sharlayan's foremost researchers in the field of teleportation magic, and Moonbreeder's parents.
It hath been some time. 'Tis good to see you in good health.
Likewise, old friend. Blovida and I were most honored to answer the call. Never expected this reunion, though, did we, dear?
say, the nerve. Sending that letter, then running off to the gods know where. Do you have any idea how worried we were?
I'm sorry. 'Twas remiss of me not to deliver the news in person. No, more than that. 'Twas I who...
Our daughter was disillusioned after Master Louisoix left her behind. The day the Scions called upon her was the happiest I'd seen her in years. She made her every choice of her own free will. No one could have ever forced her to do otherwise. Don't blame yourself for her death. Celebrate her life. You know that's what she'd want.
If there is one thing we resent you for, it was that we could not be there to mourn her with you. Reading the words you penned in that shaky hand, we must have cried as much for you as we did for her.
I'm sorry. I truly, truly am. I knew not what to say. Knew not how to express my feelings. The poems and platitudes of wiser men, musings on sadness and loss, studied and memorized, and meaningless in the moment.
Silly boy. We are all powerless before such grief. Even now, try as I might, the words escape me. But in our hearts, we know, we always know.
I remember when you were young, how the lads teased you for choosing the company of books over others. Our moon didn't take kindly to that. Be nice to Urianger, she'd shout, and give them a walloping. No matter how many times we scolded her.
So we offered a suggestion. Rather than starting fights, why don't you be the bridge between Urianger and the others? She had to mull it over for a while, arms crossed, brow furrowed in intense thought. But from that day on, she never let you be alone. She'd drag you outside to play, pepper you with endless questions, read the same books you read, all to try and understand you that much better. I'm sure it was annoying and exhausting at the time, but she only ever had the best of intentions.
And look at you now, at the center of the crowd. The reason there even is a crowd, having brought these people together. You've no idea how proud we are.
To see the boy, our daughter, trusted and believed in more than anyone, grow into the man she always knew he could be. I can see her in you, too. Feel her. She walks with you wheresoever you go. So thank you, Urianger, for being who you are.
I think I can feel her too. The truth of her life. Not sorrow, but hope and love.
important to him, wasn't she?
You could ask the man himself.
Oh, no. But watching this exchange reminds me how much I've yet to learn about your world. And its people.
You can live here your entire life and hardly learn a thing. And that's why it's too soon for this to end.
Oh, be assured that I am fine. I am. Well, glad to see them too, after so very long. Gladder still that it was in your company. As difficult as it was to accept their kindness, 'twould have been far harder had I faced them alone. Thou hast my gratitude for lending courage to the Loporrits. Not disposed to rest there on their laurels, several of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may come hither seeking counsel, and so shall I remain to aid them as need be. If thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check on Alizé. Last I saw, she was struggling to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I could go myself, but we both know whose help she's less likely to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I think of several other things I ought to be doing. Until later. Oh, what am I to do? Ah, you're that adventurer who helped out the students of Baldessian, aren't you? I suppose it matters not to you, but my son seems to have run away. Option 2. Yes. Simply put, my wife and I work at Aporia, and she happened to conceive whilst we were living here in Charlian Hamlet. I assure you that we had many sleepless nights wondering if we should quit our jobs and leave Labyrinthos, or entrust the child to a friend of ours who dwells somewhere more suitable. Ultimately, we decided to continue our work whilst raising the child here. After all, our research is focused on the very future that our offspring will inhabit. The issue is, however, that the magic that prevents us from revealing anything confidential is too potent to be used on children. Of course, we can't allow the little one to roam freely. There's no telling what he might impart into others, so he has spent his entire life thus far within the confines of Charlian Hamlet. We recently had a slight spat with him, and, well, he decided to flee. I imagine me going after him would only make things worse. Could I ask you to talk to him in my stead? I'm sure he'd be much more willing to listen to anyone other than his parents at this point. Thank you. Verpoline, my boy, is most likely in the plaza to the east. I cannot imagine he struck out any further on his own. Who are you? You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? You do have a worldly look about you. As a gleaner, I too have journeyed far and wide. Tell me, where is the farthest you have ventured? Option 2. Is that meant to be in jest? The look on your face tells me you're serious. Aye, you should do nicely. You see, I need more experienced traveler to say a prayer for me before I leave for Giribania. If you would do me the honor, the reactor operator to the by the tower to the south should have a lantern crystal prepared for this purpose. They want a more experienced traveler to bless his journey. Okay. I'm not going to go home so easily. You probably won't believe me either, but I've noticed that all's not right in Labyrinthos. Going with option 1. Fine. I shall tell you what I've seen. The color of the artificial light here changed recently. I'm sure most people haven't noticed, but when you've spent your whole life here, the difference is like night and day. Even so, no one will take me seriously when I bring it up, all because of my age. Got into a big fight with Father about it. But Labyrinthos is in danger. Who knows what would happen if the artificial sun broke? That's why I can't go home just yet. I need to get to the bottom of this first. Although I'm scared to venture outside on my own. They say there's countless monsters out there. I don't suppose you would come with me. I could pay you. It's not much, but I do get pocket money from my parents. I like option 1, but I'm going with 2. I thought you were different from the rest, but now you're treating me like a child too. This is a proper deal, all right? You've got to take my money and make it binding. Okay. You insist on giving me your money, kid. I'll take your money. Then it's settled.
I will be right back.
Okay.
Sure, but we won't actually take the quest.
Hmm?
Take his money, but we won't actually take the quest.
Of course. Are you here for the crystal? I hope it does some good for that gleaner. Those folks need all the luck they can get. Lanterns light the way through the darkness, a tool which can mean the difference between life and death. They are synonymous with safe passage, and as such it has become custom in recent days to imbue the crystals inside with the prayers of a more seasoned traveler. Today that traveler is you. Simply face the crystal and pray for the safety of the traveler to be, if you will. A colleague recently told me about the power of Aska, a concept taught in Razatan, and how it reacts to strong emotion. I wonder if this method of praying to a crystal is a manifestation of that power. Well, that should about do it. With luck, your prayers will help guide the gleaner safely through the perils of his journey. Welcome back, Sora. Bats need prayers too.
They do. Didn't tell that because it was right on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Basically, anytime my mink is sitting on my shoulder, I will click it at least once whenever I try to click anything.
You wouldn't think so because it's on your shoulder, but
Apparently, the most common place for me to try to click is right next to my player's head. So. And also, the clicking is not particularly, or it's extremely forgiving. As in, you could try to click something, miss it by a full inch on your screen, and still get it.
yeah.
You have a lantern crystal for me? You have my thanks. With your prayer fueling its light, I have faith that it'll keep me safe until I return. And now, I depart for Girabanya. I hope your travels are successful, as well as mine. What are you doing here? No, I don't mind if you help with the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these Apora. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples. So try not to be too rough with them. Alpha Node should be waiting for us when we arrive. I'll see you there. Deliver the crates of samples to Alpha Node. You will have 3 minutes to complete the task. Should you fail, return to the starting location and begin anew.
Oh, nice. Mine looks smaller than yours, even.
I appreciate that the buff we have on us implies we're getting tired the longer we carry this, which is why it will eventually fall off. Although I will say, the way I'm carrying this box, I should be dropping it. It's at a very steep angle right now.
Yeah.
Get your hands under it, man. Oh, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. You have my gratitude. But how did you come to be involved in this? But I suppose I have Thancred to thank as well. You're wondering why we were tasked with bringing these boxes to Apora to begin with. So was I. It turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts. Those with final say as to what is included in the ship's manifest can be found here. Father included, I suspect. That should be everything. Carrying all of that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh, hush. They're lighter than they look, and not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we've finished. The Apalden is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. Odds, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We brought samples from Charlie and Hamlet, Series 110. The crates are by the entrance. Ah, thank you. I had expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You're Fortuno's children, aren't you not? Alpha Node and Alizé, it's your service. You're well acquainted with Father, I take it? Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at the studium. I remember when you were yay high, waddling hither and thither. Clearly, it's been quite some time since we met. It is good to see you again, wielding your father's Nolus, no less. You know our parents when they were young. They like. Pray, spare no detail. I should like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reams of paperwork want for submission. We can help with that, in exchange for the sort of stories our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well then. There happen to be 3 sets of documents I need to deliver. So how about you take each one? You each take one. Wait right there. Yes, to get embarrassing stories about their father, I think Alpha Node and Alizé might just teleport to wherever they have to deliver this stuff. You will find a forum representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept her waiting too long. Never mind Alpha Node and Alizé. I'm certain they'll be back soon enough. Are you not one of the scions of the Seventh Dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the Ether Burner. The Alpaldan's paperwork. I was beginning to worry he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents to my hands at last. As for your other task, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you scions succeed. The Exodus is, without a doubt, the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in all respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlian has ever been a nation of the curious. It would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit of truth. Quick and efficient. I dare say you have a talent for this work. The twins' papers only need to be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning at any moment. We return, with not a scrap of paperwork remaining on our persons, you will note. You both have my thanks, and my apologies for sending you on an errand far below your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes, and that is quite enough of that, thank you. It was compromising stories of our parents that we'd ask for, to reiterate. Of course, of course. I've known your father for so long, I must have something. Well, as you know, part of why the Levelier name garners such respect in Charlian is your family's storied history. You two can trace your ancestry directly to those who came aboard Nirmkef's Hope, a lineage few can claim. Never thought much of it myself. Not as though our forebears founded our nation. They were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. It is why Nirmkef's pronouncement, renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason, has ever been our family's creed. Until your grandfather's time, Archon Louis Soir looked not to Nirmkef's words, but his deeds. He asserted, in defiance of his peers, that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations, that led him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to its doom. There will ever be conflict and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. You remember his words well. Indeed, Archon Louis Sois lived by that personal creed, and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlian or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Fourcheneau could not reconcile Louis' deeds with the philosophy of their forebears, and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Fourcheneau agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. God's father. A son may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? Gods know Fourcheneau's a cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that you are constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with the kind of dumbfounded grin I'd not seen since he first took a fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it. He loves you to an embarrassing degree. But he also is frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other end of it, as I'm sure you will agree. I'll say. Thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me into too much trouble now. I need the forum on my side. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back to work. I have to make sure those specimens you brought make it into their proper places. Or the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Hail, you three. Hello, Graha. Graha, surely Kokol hasn't been driven you out of the forge already. For better or for worse, no. However, he has set me a task that requires more than my single pair of hands, and here you are. I could use at least one of you, but wouldn't object to more. Unfortunately, Alize and I have prior commitments, and we have delayed too long as it is. What about you? Can you spare the time? Perfect. This shouldn't take long. In the event that our, and I quote, promised heap of adamantite falls right out of the bloody sky and into my lap, Master Kokals wishes to be ready to put the proverbial hammer to anvil at a moment's notice. To fabricate these parts, however, he needs the flames in Kokol's forge to burn hotter. He sent me to increase the amount of ether being funneled to his furnaces. The flow of fire-aspected ether in Labyrinthos is regulated by an elemental reactor south of here, to which I have borrowed the key. The adjustment will require 2 people to carry out safely, but I can explain the process when we arrive. This is where we part, then. We'll see you in Charlian Hamlet once the adamantite arrives, if not before. This way, then. The reactor is housed within this facility. I'll be the one to go inside and adjust the fire ether output. When I do, a rather large amount of water-aspected ether will issue from the vent at the top. I expect this to extract at least a few elementals, which we would both rather not be drawn into the reactor itself. Trust me. Can I ask that you put down any that draw too near? They'll pose you little trouble, I'm sure. Wait here, if you would. Everything goes smoothly out here. I thought as much. No major complications to speak of inside either. And the water ether appears to be venting properly. I expect Kokol will have seen a difference in his forge's flames by the time I return. Since I have you, there was another matter I thought to discuss with you. Nothing terribly important, merely something I've been considering. Part of this I've shared with everyone, yet you and only you have been to Elpis. As we have established, refined adamantite is a product of Alag, of the Empire's twilight years, in fact. It was a material which saw much use as part of the Alagant's efforts to extend beyond the bounds of this world. Dalamud, of course, being the most prominent. Of those who could push further, expand Alag's empire to encompass the heavens and the stars above, perhaps the greatest was its infamous technologist, Amon. Going with option 2. I believe he had his own reasons. There is no evidence to suggest that he retained memories of his former life. He only joined the Asians once the Empire was all but dust, as you know. If not his memory, though, what drove him to pursue the idea with such fervor? This may seem far-fetched, but what if souls, like minds, have a personality, so to speak, a natural disposition towards which they are inclined? We know with relative certainty that it was the gross decadence and inexorable decline of Alag that moved Amon to resurrect Emperor Zonde. The Empire's people spoke lightly of death and destruction, experimenting on those who they deemed beneath them to fill the emptiness in their hearts. In facilitating Zonde's return, Amon provided these languid souls with a means to free themselves from the mire of their own indolence. Or would have, had not Zonde been convinced by his own death and that life was meaningless. Amon's desire for his countrymen to conquer the heavens could only be a means to the same end, to instill the people with new purpose. Like Hermes before him, Amon was appalled by how those around him lived. and could never bring himself to believe that those lives were devoid of meaning. And both of them sought that meaning, that hope, in the distant stars. That's just my theory. Ultimately, it is the consequence of those actions which matter. Their motives are of no moment. And yet, to reach those stars on wings of adamantite, to travel to the ends of creation and beyond, the promise of hope everlasting, that much I do understand. But enough musing for now. Why don't we see how Kokol is getting on? Be right back. The AC has been set way too high. Alright, I'm back. Ooh, I can feel those flames a-blazing from here. Glad you found someone capable, Graha. But there's not much left for you to lot to do. Unless you could conjure up that refined adamantite any faster. I do trust you to deliver on your promise. I do. Only, I hate waiting. I want that adamantite and I want it now. Yeah, share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else we can assist with in the meantime? I wish. The sitting around's unbearable. Pity the forum frowns on recreational explosions. Well, so long as we can't prove it was premeditated. Well, so long as we can't they can't prove it was premeditated, get you gone. I've mistakes to make. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have one more look to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time, however. I will join you and Charlie and Hammond and on. Okay. I like the bomb-happy dwarf.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
If you wait here, your companions are bound to turn up sooner or later.
All set, I take it?
We finished what we could. Delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals. Trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperites, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have for the most part been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Livingway and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Kryl. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbor at once.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbor. Your presence is requested, with all speed.
Now, where might this delivery be? Oh.
I'm sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
By the 12! Surely, these can't all be.
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. And a hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Dalamud shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. I played a vital role in keeping a lookout whilst our expeditionary forces secured the adamantite.
All the way to the entrance. Yeah, that sounds like something Emma
Left you
Lane would do.
outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due. You did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
My, what a grand welcome party.
Hancock and Saraban.
We come bearing relics both sacred and Allegan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of Rayson Temple. 'Twas passing fortunate that Senri's dango craving brought us to Kugane. We arrived precisely as Hancock was making his arrangements. Upon learning of your need, we made haste back to Hell's Lid, with our dango, never fear, and consulted with the other auspices. All consented to the lending of Tenzin's legendary phoenix blade for this noble cause. Suzaku and Seiryu were nevertheless worried that it might be lost in transit, however, and insisted upon accompanying me to Onakoru, where I had intended to entrust it to our Confederate allies. I thought instead to give it over to Hancock when we chanced to cross paths yet again. But alas, Seiryu remained ill at ease, and ordered me see the blade into your hands personally, or die trying.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time.
That is all wonderful to hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino. Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenard Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation. Everything is already yours.
We funded the venture? When?
Don't let the name fool you. This coinkeeper knows a thing or two about spending. When it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount. We also had the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement. She has supported us from the shadows since the very founding of the Scions. We even had coffers to fill.
Mother!
Ameliance.
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full. We can hardly take them with us on your teeny-tiny toy boat, now can we? And 'twould be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. Waste not.
There he is.
However did you manage so much in so short a time, though? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
Did I not tell you I have my ways? Erenville, you were involved too.
I received a letter from Kryl after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners. spread across the world as we are. I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlian. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless, undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters. Though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed. To make a long story short, the whole of the guild ship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
What's this about a ship that can fly to the moon? And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
Sid, you brought the team.
Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship.
As you like us not suspect, we've also brought adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud Shard. I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryl's message. So few Scions remain at the Rising Stones now. Far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat Han not have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you. Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimuld remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Summer, and his journey across the great expanse. As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent. Ajdaya's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Chrisvelgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion. My sire, too, gave his assent. Thus have I brought you his own worm scales. Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself along.
Bugger me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again. Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. With all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent. Think of how far we could go. What we could do with that much power. What we could blow up.
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true.
In which case, the Scion's end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
Yes, Father?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship. Yet this much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it, the lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Then I will bear it with you. I beg you, share your struggles with me, as family. You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst. 'Twas love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming, and a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures. The great exodus would succeed, must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father. The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies, a perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool. Perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. A naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Cartano, as we pulled that twisted slab of Dalamud from the sea. I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you. No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship. I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream. You have earned the right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love, and none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
Oh no. Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures. Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians. Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well. I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger. Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
If we've finished loitering about the harbor, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You have no small number of friends and admirers here after all.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
The Prima Vista? Is that the big airship that is no longer in the sky? Oh, are we all here?
Mm-hmm.
I very much appreciated Sid's arrival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew that was needed.
You chose not to tell me about the ship that flies to the bloody moon.
My new favorite ship.
That's right. Well, we finally managed to clear the harbor, which means the rest is in the engineer's capable hands. Meanwhile, Father has issued to us an invitation. As was agreed, he will reveal the means by which Hydaelyn may be contacted. We are to meet him in Aporia when we're ready. Given the vital knowledge she holds, I suggest we leave without delay. It transpires, however, that the Forum's method of speaking with her is not without risks. I am curious to hear what those might entail, but regardless, be warned. Most of those who arrived with the adamantite have offered to stay and see to any remaining tasks that need doing. The Forum has already asked for my assistance in overseeing the process, so you needn't worry about a thing. Thank you, Tataru. We're off to Apora then. And yes, I very greatly appreciated the arrival of Tartaru as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Innaminous benefactor.
Mm-hmm.
This aetheryte kills me that it lands us right in the water.
Indeed. I have already shown the others inside. You will want to speak with Clara Lane. She has the key to the lift and can send you down after me. You're with Master Fushino, yes? Just step inside the lift here. Just had to finish the map. I skipped the first line. It marks the beginning and end of our efforts, whence we delve to seek audience with the star, and whence we will embark on our journey to the heavens. This way, if you please. I have not played Final Fantasy IX yet, no. It is very much on the list, though.
Well, it's pretty cool looking.
Mm-hmm. I bid you welcome to Thalmazine. Direct your attention toward its center to behold the ark over which we have long labored. As you can see, 'twas designed as a medium-sized craft, the better to reduce fuel consumption. Miniaturizing magics have been applied to its interior to ensure that the thrust-to-weight ratio does not place too great a limitation on its freight capacity. The Aether Burner, as you know, has been removed for further modification, but we shall reattach it soon enough. I received word that Kokol and several of your allies are working on it with intense fervor. They are sure to see it done. It was by their expertise that many a prior disaster was averted. If anything, I fear they will not afford us much time for speaking with Hydaelyn ere they finish. Point taken. Let us move on. I must warn you again, however, that even with the benefit of our device, to treat with her is not a simple feat. I could see that as well. Been a long time since I've played any Star Ocean, but I can see it. I've done what I can to impress upon you the gravity of what lies ahead. Are you prepared? And we may now fly in Labyrinthos.
Yay!
We make for the lift at the center of this chamber. Come. Yeah, I've been playing through the entire Final Fantasy series on my Friday streams. Just started 7 Remake last week. So, probably got a bit of a ways before I get to 9. But, it's coming. As you all know, alongside our physical world exists the ethereal plane, which we refer to as the ethereal sea. At the heart of the star, the physical and ethereal are one and the same. Thus, the deeper we go, the easier it becomes to pass between said planes. We utilize this principle in constructing the anti-tower, and once more here in Thalmazine. No sooner did the Forum decide to withdraw from Eorzea than we began work on this facility. Our work culminated in a device that allowed us to peer deeper into the ethereal sea than ever before, in search of Hydaelyn's ever fainter echoes. The Atishoscope. And you communicate with her through this device? For a time, yes. But since the 7th Umbral Calamity, it has been rare to hear even a whisper. If you wish to reach her, you must journey closer to the center of our star than we have ever dared, beyond the Atishoscope. Even so, I make no guarantee that you will find her, nor of your safety, not so deep in the ethereal sea. We understand. But if we are to deliver this world, we have no choice but to try. I know. I only wish we could do more than observe your progress from afar. The Atishoscope's ocular lens, by which we may peer into the ethereal sea without placing ourselves at hazard, lies above us. Though we can watch through it, we can watch and guide you. In those swirling depths, there are pockets of ether so dense and turbulent that they can unravel one's soul. If we determine that you are at risk of coming into contact with such a pocket, we will recall you with teleportation magics. To that end, it would be best if one familiar with the composition of your souls remains here to assist in assessing the said risk. Otherwise, there is an increased probability that we will extract you too early or too late. Please, allow me. I have thought upon this much, and in truth, I do not believe that I am fit to join you in the trials ahead. The events at the Tower of Babel drained me, yes, but even before that, your capabilities far outstripped my own. This is no time to have a weak link in our vanguard, no matter how much she may wish it otherwise. If I assist in the manner that Master Fortuneau has laid out, however, I will still be of use. Will you trust me to do so? I can think of none I'd trust more. Compared to all that effort you put into keeping us alive while our souls were in the first, preventing us from dissolving into ether on a single expedition ought to pose no challenge at all. And even if we did, I expect you would hunt us down and restore us to health somehow. You flatter me, but rest assured that I will be keeping a close eye on all of you. There is one more thing. Those in the ages past referred to the ethereal sea as the underworld, our final resting place. In its embrace is memory washed away, leaving only the purity of one's soul, or so we believe. Yet what of these memories? Do you think to ask what becomes of them, cast adrift on ethereal tides? Some theorize that they linger for some time, those associated with strong sentiment in particular. In those depths, memories of the departed may even coalesce around you, for hatred or for love. Thus do I caution you to be wary, but also to have faith. Remember those who did gladly extend a hand to you, that they may lift you up once more. Well, I would say we just ran into our stopping point for the night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Luckily, it's just in time. Alright, just a second, I'll wind down the stream. Alright, guys, I believe that is where we will stop for tonight. Pick up tomorrow with the Atia scope. Not sure how it's pronounced, but that. And proceed from there. And I will, well, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. So, until then, I want to thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time. And have a good night.